Hi, it's Miss Parrott, and welcome back to the AP Bio Exam Skills video series. Today we're going to be looking at multiple choice question efficiency without panic. So how to navigate that first part of the AP Bio exam. In this, we're going to be looking at strategies, how not to spiral, mindsets, and step-by-step things we can do to be sure that we are earning the most points possible. So first of all, the multiple choice questions are not easy. Let me just make that really clear. If you can think of, if you had a test, your teacher gives you a test that usually has like a third easy, a third medium, and a third hard questions. Well, this test is all the hard questions. And there's 60 questions and 90 minutes, but the time pressure is real. If you watch my other multiple choice question video, you'll see that us thinking through just that one example took over 5 minutes. Now, of course, I said out loud every single thing I was thinking, but the point is 1.5 minutes per question isn't enough. But that's on purpose. It's not on you. So the time pressure is real. It is normal to feel, oh no, and it's not going to feel comfortable. It's going to feel kind of crummy. But just know you and every other kid in America taking that test at that same time is feeling that exact same way. And the test designers did it on purpose. And efficiency, that's how we're going to be looking at this, does not mean rushing through. It means being strategic. So our goal, your goal as the test taker, is to maximize points without spiraling and getting all up in your feelings. Because that's going to happen, and that's a whole other video, how to deal with our feelings during the AP Bio exam. Because you're going to get them. But think about it like you're playing Mario, right? And you're just trying to get as many pennies, as many coins as you can. It's that same kind of deal. So, steady progress is more important than perfection. It slows you down to stop and try and get everything right in order. That's not how we're doing it. All questions are worth the same. So a simpler question and a more complex question are worth the same points. So we're going to try and snatch up all those simpler thinking questions first. Also, momentum is more important, like keeping moving, than getting stuck and being perfect. It's not worth it. So our goal here is strategic movement through the test to help us score as many points, gain as many coins as possible. All right, here's our strategy. It's the 3-pass strategy. So a pass is just going through the test. Now note, this year, the multiple choice part of the test is on the computer. So this is, well, depending on what kind of test taker you are, this could be more challenging or more simple for you. Also, there will be another video coming in this series about how to navigate the test on the computer, but it's just the multiple choice part. So, pass 1. This is when we look through the whole test and we only answer questions that we feel real confident on. You're probably not going to feel super confident on a whole lot. But again, they designed it that way on purpose. But what you feel confident on, answer it. And if you don't feel confident on it, like initially, skip it. Skipping at this point in the game is not giving up. It is intentional and it's part of your strategy. So if you feel good about it, confident, answer it, move on. If you don't feel confident, skip it till you go through the whole 60 questions and mark all the ones you feel confident on. Pass 2, so then we're going to go back to the beginning. These are our thinker questions. These are ones where you're like, I'm there, I'm almost there. So you're going to give yourself a little more time on these, but do not spend too long on any one question. If you've been sitting on something for like more than 2 minutes, move on. And because you'll come back. We're going to get into how to decide if you're stuck between two answers in a second. But the key is don't spend too much time on any one question, but do let yourself marinate enough. Then there's going to be some questions where you're like, dude, I have no idea. Save those for last. What you're going to do with those on the third pass, you are going to guess, strategically guess, but guess and move on. Why are we guessing? We're guessing because AP Bio does not give a penalty for incorrect answers. You only gain points for correct answers. There are 4 answer choices on all AP Bio multiple choice questions. So that means you have a 25% chance of getting it right just by guessing. If you can narrow down your answers to 3, then 3 like 1 you know is so not right. That has nothing to do with it. It's got to be one of these 3. Then your odds have just gone up to 33%. If you can narrow it down to 2 solid choices, then you're at 50% chance of getting it right. So guessing is not bad, but it is something that should wait till here or when you're in a time crunch. Because again, the time pressure is real and you will be in a time crunch. But always, always bubble something. Don't leave anything blank. Because again, there is a chance that you could get it right purely by guessing. But if you leave it blank, is a 0% chance of getting it right. So that's your strategy. Confident first, thinker second, guessing goes last. But do guess. Now, what if I get one of those really long multiple choice questions where it has a whole experiment described and there's diagrams and graphs and data tables? Can I skim? The answer is yes, but again, strategically. So this is how you can skim safely for those extra long multiple choice questions. Also, usually if it has a big long setup, it'll have more than one question that goes with it. It might be a set of like 3 to 5 questions. So first thing is to read the question. And when I say the question, I don't mean all the background and everything. I mean the statement right before the answer choices that has a question mark. Read that first. Identify the task verbs in that. And we discussed that in the previous video. And then go back to the background and skim looking focused for that information that it's asking you to find. What you should not skim are graphs, axes labels, or units. These you do want to pay attention to. If you're given a big experimental setup and you're skimming, as you skim, you want to be sure to identify the dependent variable, the independent variable, and the controls that they're describing. If you're not sure, like as you read it, what that is, if it gives you a graph, your dependent variable is going to be on the y-axis, right? So if you've never seen this dry mix thing, so dry, dependent, responding goes on the y-axis. And then mix is manipulated, independent, goes on the x-axis. So they call it the granola method. It's a dry mix. So be sure you identify those without getting caught up in like, and then they took the liquid out of the test tube and put it on the slide, because they will do that. So yeah, what do I ignore? You ignore a few things. So specific species names or scientific names, like long Latin names. They're there to be like official and to give you a real example in real life, but no one expects you to know about every species in the world. It's just giving you an example, and usually in the information it tells you more about it and what you actually need to know to answer the question. So don't get tripped up by scientific names. Similarly, don't get tripped up by gene names, which are usually clumps of capital letters and numbers, or protein names, which are usually like really long and end in ace or in, but they look scary. But just think of it like protein A, yeah, and move on. Also, again, don't get caught up in procedural details or excess background information. Now, sometimes there's important stuff in there, but when you're doing your first skim, you can kind of move past that and go back to background information if you need it, if what you got in your skimming doesn't give you what you need. So that's how to skim safely and strategically. Now, what happens after doing all that? I'm still stuck between two answers, or I'm on my thinker, right? I'm on my thinker path, or I'm down to the guess and go, and I'm down to two answers that could be really good. Well, first, this is what you should do. First, reread that question. Again, that's your statement with the question mark. What are the task verbs asking for? Is it asking you to predict? Is it asking you to identify? Is it asking you to justify? The action verb, the task verb it gives you will tell you the type of answer that it's looking for. Now, what if even after that you're still down to two and you don't know? Here are some tiebreaker suggestions or rules you can use. Data is always like if it gives you data or a graph, that's always more important than what you memorize about, say, how enzymes work. Okay, like what I actually love about the AP Bio exam is that there are so many questions, especially the ones involving graphs and data, that you can figure out yourself even if you know nothing or very little about the content area itself. Context matters. So do pay close attention to graphs and data tables. Another tiebreaker rule is choose the one of the two that tells you how or why something happens over just a description of the results. That's often more, especially if it's asking you to explain or justify, right? An answer that is specific is more likely correct than an answer that is vague and generic. And then finally, again, you want to choose the answer that directly answers the task verb that you identified at the beginning. When you choose that one, you're much more likely to choose and guess correctly. So lastly, we're going to look at like our mindset on the test day and just like general takeaways from this video about how to efficiently approach the multiple choice section of the test. Remember, progress and getting through as many questions as we can well is more important than perfection, right? You want to go in with confidence. You just took a year-long course at the college level. You want to go in with confidence and composure. Deep breaths. You've got this. And please, I say this to my students who are the smart kids especially. And I say this because I was that kid. This test is not your identity. Again, I'm going to do a whole video on how these tests, like how to manage your emotions during these tests. But how you do on this has no impact on how smart you are, how well you're going to do in life, or anything besides this hour and a half. It is purely a reflection of what's going on with you this day, this time, and this hour. So this test is not your identity. Our goal is not perfection. It's progress. We also, you want to keep moving forward. Use that 3-pass strategy, right? The things you're confident on, hit those first. Then your thinkers, then your guess and go at the end. But don't get stuck. Trust your biology knowledge. You've just spent the last 8 or 9 months taking this course. You and your teacher have worked really, really hard to prepare you for this day. You have what it takes. So remember that. And then this, I think, most importantly, and that's also part of what this series is about, is you have the skills. So even if you don't have every piece of content knowledge, you have the ability, you have the skills to figure out the best answer and to move forward. Similarly, not just trust your biology knowledge, but I gotta say this for the teachers out there. The test will throw you curveballs. It will introduce you to stuff you have never heard of. Kids want to fall into the pit of, my teacher never taught me this. And that may be true, but it's not because they're a bad teacher. It's because the test is throwing you a curveball. Okay, they're throwing you something that they know you're not going to know about, but they do know that you will have the skills to figure it out. You're applying your knowledge and skills to something new. You can do it. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel for more videos in this series and on all AP Bio topics. Please do leave a comment or a question below, or even an emoji. And teachers, I'm going to be putting out resources for this video and all the ones in this series and all my other videos on Teachers Pay Teachers at my store, Know and Grow with Gnomes. Keep growing, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.